the miners had been given the weekend off. And so we went down Christmas, I was on night shift that week, I don't know why, and we went down Christmas Eve night, from 10 till 6 in the morning. But they'd brought in old miners back from retirement and maintenance people, and it was like when the Ford shutdown happened, they'd descend on it for a fortnight and do their maintenance, and so they did the same. And so down we went, and I was allocated to a little miner, quite a little man, and he wanted to pick up his bag, and away we went to a different mine. They were opening up a new shaft somewhere. And my job apparently was to hold up these tubes of compressed air in the roof space while he used the longest of spanners to tighten the thing up, and then we moved and doing things like that. And he'd point to another piece of tool that he wanted, and I'd hand it to him. And of course, there's no conversation. I didn't know any. I knew the odd word of football or something like that, football, but I didn't know the lingo. But I was thinking it was Christmas Eve, and I wondered if they were doing midnight mass at home again, because it stopped during the war, but because of the Blitz. And one of the folks had gone to midnight mass. And I found myself singing Silent Night, the hymn, the carol, Silent Night. And the little man pricked up his ears and said, Tommy, das ist good music. Ja, it's good music. Tommy, it's Deutsch music, it's German. So, yeah, Deutsch music. And he, with his little falsetto voice, which I've almost reached myself now, because in those days I thought I sang like Bing Crosby, not like I don't know, some soprano. But so he's singing Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, and I'm singing Silent Night, and we did a little duet. And when it finished, he said, Tommy, Cieszyn. Sat down. Well, we were so used to working with the miners, when we blew down the coal, for example, he chose the spots where they drilled in. Once he'd blown down and picked up the loose bits with the axe, he'd sit down to have his piece, and we had to begrudge every mouthful but get on with shoveling coal, because if you didn't shovel your coal, you stayed down there until you did. Couldn't go any place, couldn't escape or anything like that, so they could cheerfully leave you. So, and in any case, there's the afternoon shift coming on. So I thought, got to sit and watch him eat now, instead of just getting on with my work. Instead of that, he gave me, they used to cut their bread a long ways through the thing, so he had long, and he gave me one full of some form of salami or something, some wurst, and I sat and had my own sandwich. So that was worth being a Catholic for 5 minutes. I got a good sandwich out of that one, and then complications started. He asked me something, and all I got was the word football. And I said, yeah, eat football, yeah. Something else, no. So in those days you couldn't do it now, but in those days he marked in the coal dust, the 5 forwards, the 3 half backs, the 2 backs. Now they go on and stand in a heap by the time, it seems to me, but then we knew the positions. And he had apparently played outside left for the local town. Well, he'd already asked me my town. Oh, no, he hadn't at that stage. Then he asked me something and pointed, and he obviously wanted to know, where did I play? Well, thinking of just school days, which were only a couple of years, 2 or 3 years back, I played in goal, so I pointed, which he called doorman. Which makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. So I was the doorman. Then, was ist deine Stadt? What's your town? Well, I didn't say Barking, because how do you explain where Barking is? So you say London. Now, I mean, there were no such things as television in those days, and they really didn't know, I presume, if you were not terribly well educated, you didn't know the size of London. I mean, okay, it was the capital of England, but it didn't have to be very big, you know. I doubt if he'd ever been to Warsaw in his life, so he wouldn't have known. And so I told him, and he said, and he pricked up his ears. London? Arsenal? Yeah, Arsenal. You Arsenal doorman? No, nine? Yeah. And we had all previously learnt, and I don't know whether it became useful, two teams from England had toured Germany before the war. One was Bolton Wanderers, and the other one was Arsenal. We even knew some of the scores. I can't remember what they were now, but we've been there. And if you could get working like we did at the tramway depot, and get the chap in charge to start talking about football, and he saw the Arsenal team or he saw the Bolton Wanderers, he'd start talking about until he worked, and we keep him going until he realised no work was getting done, and then all back to normal. So this little man, he didn't know, and he thought, well, Arsenal was like he'd played for Hindenburg or Cieszyn or whatever it was called. So no, as Rabs, I should say. So he thought Arsenal was the team for London. When you think of the number of teams that play in London, on all the professional teams, the semi-professional teams, the Hornchurches, all the teams on the Hackney Marshes and Clapham Common and so on, and all the 1,000 at must. But he still finished up with, I'm the goalkeeper for the team from London, so I'm Arsenal goalkeeper. I'm sure he was convinced, I'm not making that up. I'm sure he convinced he spent that night with Arsenal goalkeeper, but he didn't. It was me. But I got a sandwich out of it. Anyway, that was that.